It is a war of attrition, and Russian television claims these troops advancing on Severodonetsk are winning it. Their progress has been slow due to fierce Ukrainian resistance, but here at least they seem to have broken through. And they've done so by targeting relentless firepower on small areas. Some 1,500 civilians have been reported killed during this Russian siege, and up to 13,000 are believed to be trapped in basements and bunkers. This Russian separatist fighter blames the Ukrainians for the destruction, while another brandishes what he says is a rocket launcher supplied by the West. Apparently too little, too late to make a difference here. The Kalush Orchestra is trying to make a difference by auctioning off the trophy they won at the Eurovision Song Contest for over £700,000, the money being used to pay for 3 Ukrainian drones. But at Europe's political heart there is less unity of purpose. An EU summit struggling to agree a 6th round of sanctions against Russia.
My expectations are low that it will be solved in the next 48 hours, but I'm confident that thereafter there will be a possibility.
That delay here in Brussels means there won't be a total ban on Russian oil imports for now, but a likely compromise, banning deliveries by ship but allowing those by pipeline to continue, which is what the Putin-friendly Hungarian Prime Minister wants.
Out of blue, we have got the idea of embargo and sanctions on oil without answering the questions which related to the Hungarian energy supply security. So the whole situation we are in is a difficult one created by the Commission.
Back on the battlefield, these Ukrainian troops know that selling Europe energy pays for Vladimir Putin's war. What's more, they fear that Europe's leaders could be so afraid of high food and energy prices that they try to impose a Putin-friendly ceasefire.
Зараз я найбільше боюся, коли ось саме такі зараз потужні бої, дуже сильні, важкі, коли зараз кажуть все, відбій і перемир'я. А таке в нашій історії вже було. І я боюся цього, що зараз може бути такий дуже важкий момент для країни. Зараз кажуть все, перемир'я, ми домовляємося.
Yesterday, President Zelensky presented medals in his first public appearance outside the Ukrainian capital since the war began. For all his defiance, he stands to lose more territory unless the West supplies deadly multi-launch rocket systems fast. And those weapons would give him the leverage he needs to negotiate a ceasefire. That truce seems a long way off, which means the evacuation of more sick and injured civilians from the Eastern Front. Because unless Mr. Putin gets to keep much of the ground he's now taking there by force, he's not likely to talk peace either.
Well, earlier I spoke to Ivana Klimpush. She served as Ukraine's Vice Prime Minister for European integration until 2019. And I began by asking her if she thinks Europe's going soft on sanctions.
Europe, unfortunately, is losing its unity on sanctions towards Russian Federation, and I think that that's a very positive sign for Kremlin and for Russian Federation, and very worrisome for the future of Europe itself, and definitely for Ukraine. And I'm very saddened by the fact to see that one of the countries can just take others hostage and basically impose its own short-sighted interests.
But do you think it is just Hungary that's the problem? After all, there's been criticism of Germany and France, and you have been tweeting on social media your worries about what Italy has been doing,
Yes.
On the quiet.
Well, Italy has been suggesting very strange ideas with regard to peace plan, so to say. And I'm glad that it doesn't take the route, as far as I can see at this particular moment. With regard to whether it's only Hungary, obviously we understand, we are, assessing it very clearly that once one country starts to kind of fall out from the general pattern, others are trying also to use it for their own benefit and try to negotiate something what's important for themselves. But I think, yet again, we have to come back to the real major basic question: is the EU really about values? I want to believe that it is. If it is about the values, I'm sure that then the sixth package, even stronger than it was initially planned, will be passed.
What is your fear about Italy's ideas for peace? Do you feel that Ukraine is being sold down the river?
You see, I'm very worried when someone is suggesting, for example, for Ukraine to become neutral. We have been non-aligned, non-bloc country back in 2014, the country that has given up its nuclear weapons and had guarantees from the aggressor with regard to our sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity. None of that has preserved us. And that means that there has to be a real serious security instrument and serious security alignment that would envisage Ukraine's further security. So, which means, from my perspective, once the war is over, Ukraine joining NATO.
Do you agree that on the ground, at the moment, it seems that Russia is the one who is making the biggest progress?
Well, Russia, unfortunately, is making some of the progress in the eastern part of Ukraine, but at the same time, in the northern eastern part and in the southern part, Ukrainian armed forces are actually also working their way through to recapturing some of our own territories. So we are really, really dependent in our progress on what kind of weaponry, how fast, how quickly we are going to receive from our partners.
Right, but I mean, from what Germany has been saying recently, it doesn't seem that the heavy weapons you want are on their way.
Unfortunately, Germany is, the coalition of the governmental coalition is very diverse. And unfortunately, even with the support we are getting from liberals and Greens, it doesn't seem that Social Democrats and Scholz, to that extent as a chancellor, is ready to give the final permissions to those important weaponry that we've been counting on from Germany. But I hope that with the support of others, we can manage, and then keeping pressure on on Germany.
Ivana Klimpush, thank you very much.
Thank you.